Okay, this game is Alekhine versus Yates in 1922. It's a very fine game which I first saw in Test Your Positional play by Berlin Pozzetti. I was extremely impressed by some of the themes in this game, such as outposts on key squares and king infiltration, rooks on the 7th rank. This game has several strategic ideas. Alekhine plays d4, Yates knight f6, so we have a standard transposition into a Queen's Gambit, an ordinary looking Queen's Gambit decline. So black hasn't captured the pawn yet on c4, and Alekhine is waiting for black to play d takes c4, presumably because he doesn't want to lose a tempo. If he moved his bishop dc4, he's losing a tempo. But Yates is playing some waiting moves now, c6. So Alekhine yet another waiting move, not playing bishop d3 or bishop e2 yet. But now after rook e8 he does finally commit the bishop, and black does play d takes c4. So the bishop's forced to move again. Knight d5. Now, a kind of stereotypical move would be just taking routinely, or maybe a more adventurous move would be h4. But h4 probably doesn't work very well in this position, if we have a quick look at it, because maybe black plays f6, and white's uncomfortably having to take on d5, because he wouldn't want his pawn structure wrecked like this, and that would be a slight advantage to black. So there's not too many move options here. But Alekhine plays knight e4, which is interesting. And he provokes a weakness which we see later becomes extremely critical. This what black plays is f5, which loosens control of e5. Now bear this in mind as a strategic theme here, because if white can exchange off black's dark squared bishop, not only this square but also this square is going to become vulnerable later. These dark squares could be great outposts later for white into black's position. So Alekhine takes that bishop on e7, and now he plays knight d2. So there's that, that potential weakness is now there. b5. Now Alekhine takes, so he gives up his bishop because he realizes that this knight will be too strong on d5 if he retreated it. So why leave it there when he's got now positional cards to play with? So he's got these two squares, and now he does make a route for his knight to go to c5. Notice that without the dark squared bishop, black is more vulnerable on these squares, and that's why this game is so instructive about dark square occupation. Now, in the book Test Your Positional Play, there was a choice of plans here, and should you take with the pawn or the piece? And this is highly instructive. Really, in this position, the book argued that taking with the piece is the most effective plan, because you're keeping that outpost square. Because would the pass pawn really be effective? Probably not. If it could be easily blockaded, it's not going to be a major threat. And black can also then play e5 and seal up this e5 weakness. So by capturing the queen, white is securing control of c5 and e5. And the queen exchanges really don't help black in this more simplified position. So white's now got access, full control of the c file, control of these two squares, and this knight's going to be better than this bishop. So there's a lot of strategic themes now going on here. So this f3 is a very beautiful little move to try and get the king aggressively into the game, as we'll see now, in a stunning fashion. Let's seal off black's counterplay now with a3. So black's not really able to do much here, because white really dominates the position in this simplified position. g5 is now stopped with this h4, and also it means that the white king can now get aggressively in the game, which is beautiful play by Alekhine. He's basically just intensifying pressure now with the rook on the 7th rank. So Nimzovic's rook on the 7th rank concept, and if he can double rooks, even better. So the target on the 7th rank, the king and pawn, are quite lucrative. And also he's continuing now his king infiltration here. Black is really defenseless here. This bishop is really terrible, and there's no pawns to attack apart from the g2 pawn, which he briefly does now, and Alekhine just plays g3. So really white dominates the position, and he extends the advantage now, preparing for the doubling of rooks on the 7th. So black plays this defensive move. Now knight d7, threatening the menacing knight f6 winning the exchange. King h8, now knight f6. So if it takes, there's rook h7 mate. So black played this, seemingly as though he's going to be okay after rook takes f8. Let's have a quick look at rook takes f8. Rook takes f8, knight takes f8, and say the knight had to go to d7. Then maybe it's not the end of the world straight away for black. E.g. rook e8, and it's not the end of the world. But the way Alekhine played it was a beautiful move here, which I'll give you 5 seconds to see if you can spot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He plays rook takes g7, sacrificing the knight on f6 spectacularly. And this is unlike most combinations, because now white wins with a king move, king to e5, which is absolutely amazing, isn't it? Because now, if the rook goes to f8, it's blocking the king's escape back. And this is just totally lost. Black resigns here. I just really enjoy this game from a positional perspective of, you know, the better knight versus the bishop, the outpost squares, you know, the control of the c-file, using that for doubling rooks on the 7th, and this beautiful king infiltration. All in all, this game has so many strategic ideas in it, you know. And if you're on chessworld.net and you find this game, please feel free to tag it, because it's just so instructive. A brilliant game by Alekhine.